The Timekeeper's Burden, 1773, the Boston Tea Party. The chill of December had settled over Boston, sharp and biting. The city was restless, its streets alive with murmurs of rebellion. I had received my task earlier that day, a small slip of parchment folded neatly and pressed into my palm by an unseen hand. You will need to make sure Adams and his men are not seen tonight. History must stay the course. Brief, cryptic, and as always weighty. Tonight was the night that Samuel Adams and the Sons of Liberty would strike a defiant blow against British authority, tossing chests of tax tea into Boston Harbor. My role wasn't to join them but to ensure they succeeded, unseen and uninterrupted. The Green Dragon Tavern was packed, its dimly lit corners holding the conspiratorial energy of men about to make history. I stood in the shadows, listening to Samuel Adams rally his companions. "This isn't just about tea," Adams declared, his voice steady and clear. "It's about liberty. Tonight, we send a message that will carry across the Atlantic. Parliament will know that we will not be taxed without representation." The group murmured their agreement, the tension palpable. One man, stocky and sharp-tongued, turned to me with a skeptical glare. "And what about you, Elijah? Are you here to take part, or just to keep an eye on us?" "There are many ways to serve a cause," I replied calmly, meeting his gaze. He scoffed, but Samuel Adams raised a hand. "Enough. Elijah has been a loyal ally. Let's focus on the task ahead." As they filed out, donning their Mohawk disguises, I stayed back. My task wasn't to be among them but to make sure their path stayed clear. From my vantage point near the harbor, I spotted the Sons of Liberty making their way to the ships. They moved quickly and efficiently, their movements blending into the shadows of the night. But my heart froze when I saw a British soldier patrolling nearby, his sharp eyes scanning the darkened streets. His path was taking him dangerously close to the docks. Acting quickly, I stepped out from the shadows and waved him down. "Excuse me, sir," I said, keeping my tone urgent but respectful. "I just saw a group of Mohawk Indians near the King's Head Tavern. Looked like they might be planning some trouble." The soldier frowned, his suspicion clearly piqued. "Mohawks, you say?" "Yes, sir. A good number of them, too. I thought it best to report it before anything untoward happens." I added just the right amount of urgency to my voice, keeping my body language tense and anxious. The soldier hesitated, clearly weighing his options, but then he nodded. "I'll look into it." As he turned and headed toward the King's Head Tavern, I glanced back at the Sons of Liberty. Several of them had paused in their work to watch the exchange. Samuel Adams caught my eye and gave me a subtle nod of gratitude. I returned it, then turned on my heel and walked away into the night. From a safe distance, I watched as the Sons of Liberty continued their work, undisturbed. Crate after crate of tea was dumped into the freezing waters of Boston Harbor, their defiance rippling across the surface. By the time they finished, the moon was high, casting its cold light over their triumphant faces. The next morning, Boston buzzed with the news. The harbor reeked of tea, and the British were furious, but the Sons of Liberty had succeeded in sending their message. As I prepared to leave the city, I heard a familiar voice behind me. "Elijah!" Turning, I saw the skeptical man from the tavern approaching me. He looked sheepish but determined. "I was wrong about you," he admitted. "You kept the redcoats off our backs. May I buy you a drink?" I chuckled, feeling the weight of the night lift slightly. "Sure," I replied, grinning. "How about a cup of tea?" He burst out laughing, and I joined in, our shared laughter echoing through the street. As I made my way out of Boston, a courier intercepted me, handing me a sealed note. The wax was unmistakable, and as I cracked it open, the message inside read, "Well done. The seeds of revolution are sown." I tucked the note away and glanced back toward the harbor one last time. The tea party was over, but the revolution was just beginning.